Delaware Canal Vision Study. That was what I was juggling tonight, getting everything ready to go. Meetings tomorrow, and then tomorrow night we have the Delaware Canal Vision Study is starting another round of public meetings. This will be the final round before the vision study is written. I encourage everybody here to attend. Tomorrow night is in Morrisville. Wednesday night will be at Washington Crossing Visitor Center. And the third one, we're not coming back to Morrisville, we're going down to Bristol. We'll be at the Bristol campus of the Bucks County Community College. Landmark Town, the Landmark Board, we've all been working, and the turnout, to get turnout from our local communities, and it's really been great. The consultants have been amazed that we've turned out so many people with a lot of great ideas. We've learned a lot from the public input. The wayfinding signs that we work with the Rotary on here in Yardley and Morrisville have become the standard. A colleague of mine took the photos up to the northern part of the D&L Trail, Lehighton, Walnut Port, and they looked at them and said, how soon can we get them? And they immediately started putting together the funds. So you guys have set a trend, and we expect to see those signs. Once we get more money from the budget that someday will get passed, we'll have more money to do more of those signs and other types of signage along the D&L Trail. But Morrisville has set a high standard for the rest of the communities. And everybody just kind of had a aha moment and said, we gotta have them. So kudos to the Rotary and everybody who worked on that. That was a great project. We've been working with our local partners to increase attendance at the Delaware Canal Festival. This year we saw increases in the attendance in the two communities that participated, Morrisville being one of those. We had the Delaware Canal State Park staff come down and let people try kayaking. We had, I believe it was 57 people got to try it. That's children and adults on the canal, and quite successful. I'd like to see that happen again. The Delaware Canal map that we've created, I'm sad to say, we're almost out of it. That is a hot item. I know I gave the mayor enough to put in the packets for, I believe it was the Labor Day picnic, and everybody wants it, and we're going to have to reprint it. So that's a wonderful problem to have. We have grant money that will be paying for that. You want me to keep going about what to do this year? I'm seeing a lot of friendly faces up there. Just a few, did you know, landmark towns in the D&L have trained facilitators, and we can serve on any time you guys need a trained facilitator on things like economic development, business retention, storefront and facade improvements, and downtown management. Myself and Elisa are both quite experienced in public meetings. We've been working as stewards and advocates for the D&L Trail with the circuit, which is the 720 plus mile circuit of trails around Philadelphia, which will be connecting to the D&L Trail. That's a real high priority. We're considered a trunk trail. Once they get on the D&L, they can go for 165 miles. And we're expecting that. It's 85% complete now. We're expecting the blockages between Bristol and Morrisville. They were telling me all of them would be cleared within 3 years. The CSX site is giving us some headaches. They don't like to negotiate. But the county commissioners have stepped up and said that they'd like to be a part of that negotiation, so maybe that'll clear the loggerheads there. But we're looking at about 3 years to clear the blockages between Morrisville and Bristol. And by 2020, we will have the entire 65 miles of trail clear. And you'll be able to hike from here clear to Wilkes-Barre. So you're part of that, and that gives leverage, that helps give priority to things like the blockages we have, the Bridge Street project and such. And as designation as a landmark town increases your chances in getting grants with DCED and the Lehigh Valley Greenways program that we run. And I know that when that round opens up, once again, we're waiting for state budget. You guys will be receiving all the money, or all the information to apply for that money. And then coming up in 2016, we'll be building on the strategic plan that we've established last year. We'll be updating it and continuing to follow through on that. That's helped keep me focused on what I'm working on, and it's helped keep the board focused. And I think it's been relatively successful. We're committed to a balanced time commitment with Morrisville's needs, and I have worked very hard to make sure my time is balanced between the 4 communities. The Canal Vision Study has taken up more time than I anticipated, but I think the end result will bolster a lot of the things that we're trying to do with landmark towns. We give monthly updates to the borough manager. We communicate funding opportunities that arise. We'll continue the wayfinding grant funding. Once again, once the state budget is passed. We'll be gearing up more marketing. One of the reasons I wanted to do the data analysis for all the 4 towns is so we can make sure we're targeting our advertising to the people who are most likely to come here. So that will help us a great deal in 2016. We'll be keeping you guys abreast of what we're doing with our monthly emails. We're going to email all our information, what we're doing, our minutes, agendas, and we hope that in 2016 you will keep. We've been a little shy. We've had 2 of the 3 positions filled here from Morrisville. I hope to see in 2016 we have all 3 positions filled. I think there's a lot of potential. I've spent a year getting to know the communities, getting to know the people and the organizations, and I see a lot of potential for Morrisville. I'm really excited. I've got a soft spot for you guys, what can I say? And the final thing is we're working on a Art on the Trail program that will be putting public art along the trail, and we'll be having 5 sculptures on the Delaware Canal section. I don't know where they'll be. We're still in the planning process. We have to work that out with the Park Service. But we've got a lot of exciting things going on in 2016, and I hope you guys continue our funding so we can keep working here in Morrisville. And that's all. And thank you, Nancy. You have given a lot to landmark towns over the past year, and I appreciate your dedication and hard work.
Thank you. It was a very comprehensive report.
I didn't know what all you wanted, so I gave everything.
We do have that request as a motion. I don't know how much longer we'll be together, if you need to stay or not, but if you can,
I will
stay
stay.
fine. We're happy to have you. If not, we'll certainly call you tomorrow.
I
Can I ask a
understand.
quick question? The Delaware Canal Vision Study, the Wednesday meeting in Washington Crossing, what time is that?
6:30 is
6:30,
registration,
okay.
and 7 o'clock the meeting starts. We'll be
Thank
doing
you.
a lot of small group.
Any other questions? for-
Last time, can I answer a question behind me?
What was the question, please?
I wanted to know when the one in Bristol is.
Okay.
We divided it into the 3 regions. You guys got it, and for the lowest end in this July, and this time it's down in Bristol. I have to play fair with everybody. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I just want to know when to schedule it.
Okay.
You might want to go to Bristol rather than Washington.
Bristol will be Thursday at the Bristol campus of the Bucks County Community College. That's out on Veterans Highway. Should be easily accessible.
Same time frame? Pam?
Same time frame. And if you want any information on everything we're doing, I encourage everybody to go to DelawareCanalVision.org. We've been putting all the boards that you've seen in all the meetings, all the handouts and stuff, the comments from the public, everything is on there, so you can go and read everything that we've been working on. Please read it and come give us your input.
We did have one of the first vision studies done here in Morrisville High School. So just so there was some of the public there at that time.
You had about 50 people there, and I was really pleased to see so many people from Morrisville attending.
All right, thank you. Any other questions for Pam? Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we move on to reports. We'll have a report from our junior council person. I don't know, should we get her on the microphone? Thank you. Where should we go to? If she wants, she can go there.
First of all, I'd like to say that the Morrisville Bulldogs had their last home game on Friday. We did lose. We lost 19-20, but it was an honorable loss, and we're very proud of our team. And speaking of football, the girls have a Powder Puff flag football game at the A field on 7 o'clock on Wednesday, November 25th, the day before Thanksgiving. The school has off that day, and we hope to see all of you there to come and support the Lady Bulldogs. A lot of students in Morrisville are really pleased to announce that we have a chapter of the National Honor Society again. We haven't had a chapter in our school since 2010, and we're very pleased to say we had our first meeting today. The Morrisville Chorus, we're holding a small concert at the Morrisville Methodist Church, December 1st at 7 p.m., directed by my mother, Shelley Zuckerman, and we're very excited to perform just some Christmas carols to perform for the people of that church, and hopefully some of you will be able to make it there and hear our performance. And last but not least, my fellow junior Emma Surdy is being honored. She worked through a program in Philly called New Studies with PIU Radio, and she's written a radio broadcast about our middle school science symposium team. I'm sure at the meetings last year you've heard about how they made Morrisville a bird town, and she has written a radio broadcast about it, and it will be on 10:60 a.m. November 29th at 4:24 p.m., a specific time, but a lot of the students are really excited to hear what she had to say and the work that she put together for this broadcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the solicitor's report.
Michelle, I don't have any reports tonight. I'm happy to address the trash contract when council's ready to make that motion, answer any questions you have.
Okay. We have no engineer's report this evening, and no mayor's report, but now we will move on to police chief's report.
Okay. All right, I got a body.
There you go.
Okay. Our crime rate stays at a negative 37% for the year. We've had 4 burglaries this past month. Most of those burglaries were shed burglaries. We've had a very good month. There's really not a lot to talk about crime. Our crime's doing very well. We put a lot of guys out on Halloween, a lot of compliments from a lot of people, and we had absolutely no incidents that night, even though we had a lot of people on the road. Apparently there was an email sent out to council about me requesting a financial statement. Just so we're all straight on why that was done. I've been asking to have meetings over the budget for the last month and a half with the council president and with our borough manager, which I was never replied to. Now it comes up, now it's budget time, now we're all the way into November. I asked for the latest numbers so I could give you an accurate account. because I am a police chief that looks at this every month. My budget is at 71%. And if everybody does the math, 71% is very, very good. Okay, that's why I asked for financial statements. I think the financial statement should be available on the 5th of the month like the crime stats are, but it is not set up that way. So that is why I asked for it. I don't know why anybody would think I would ask for anything different. So I proposed, I sent it to the mayor, $137,000 in cuts in the police department side. That will cover the increases in the professional insurance that we did not have for last year. We were only budgeted $20,000, we should have been budgeted $40,000. It will cover the $50,000 in contractual agreements that we have for salaries. And it will cover the new SRO, which I'm hoping to finish that process this week. That should have been sent along to Borough Manager at this point. That was sent to the mayor last week. So I am very on top of our budget numbers. That is the only reason I asked for those numbers. So if you really look at it, at this point, we should be at 83%. So we still have a lot of money that the borough can spend through the police department, but I have not yet because I'm very conservative with it. I just purchased 2 AEDs. I hope they will be in this week. We'll also just start carrying those on the road with them along with the first aid kits and everything else they do carry now. I just got in today a fixed speed limit sign, which will be solar powered, which will be put out to where the trailer is now. I hope if I have enough money to purchase a second one.
Do you have a location for that, chief?
For the second one or the first one?
What's the first one?
Where the
Second-
trailer
where it is
is
now?
now.
On Pennsylvania Avenue?
Yes, ma'am. But that's where that's the biggest amount of complaints we get is that road. And it has worked. It has slowed the cars down there. So my complaints have slowed down tremendously. I went to Chicago back a couple weeks ago. It was a great conference. It cost the borough $0 for me to attend that conference. November 31st, I have a police officer going to Philadelphia for bike training. One of my recommendations next year is we will have a bike. And lastly, we will be doing active shooter this year, starting in January at Haverford College. It will cost the borough nothing. I was able to secure those services through the Haverford Police Department, just through the connections that we've made with the MERT team. Besides that, the police department is doing very well. Thank you for your support, and I hope as we go along with the borough, borough finances, that we continue to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you. If I could ask the chief, you're saying that the actual financial statement that we get once a month, you're not getting that, you're requesting that, not the bill list, right? The financial sheet?
No. You had an email this week, right?
Yeah, I just had an email that said you requested it, but I'm thinking it was this, the financial sheet.
Right, the financial sheet. Right, that's what I was requesting, and that's
Okay.
what I did get.
Yeah.
But I got it on the 13th, which is apparently before you guys got it, and that didn't go over very well. That's all, and it's very hard to do a budget
Right.
when I'm working off a month-old
Right.
budget.
Mhm.
That's why I asked to have this, like, accurate numbers you have.
Right. And you should have this, because it's the running tally
Oh,
of our budget.
I do get these every month,
Okay.
but when the council gets it. So when I was asked by the borough manager to have
Oh, I had it.
my budget done,
Mhm.
I wanted the most accurate numbers that were available. That's why I was asking.
Oh,
for it.
okay, yeah, I understand it now. Personally, I think you've done a great job with your budget. I mean, when you came in last year, you were real prepared, you sat down and knew exactly what you needed to tell us, and we could ask you any questions, and you're right on board with that, and you stayed exactly, actually under, you said the budget.
When are we having budget meetings?
I asked, I'm still waiting myself for a date. And the other thing I just want to say real quick, when it came to Halloween, a lot of good feedback with the coverage that you do with the officers. Fantastic job. Seriously. So I thank you for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chief, Just for clarification, I never received an email from you about financial meeting,
About what? The
about
budget?
some, a budget meeting or something.
About sitting down and doing the budgets?
Correct.
Okay, well, I will bring it up, it's
So,
done back in,
Excuse me,
me,
I don't have a lot of friendly faces here.
I'll bring it up, I'll print it back out for you from back in the beginning of October. I sent it to you, I sent it to your borough manager, and I sent it to the mayor,
Okay, thank you.
because I always include everybody in on my emails.
All right.
So,
Are you finished with the budget? With your budget?
we sent it to the mayor, yes.
I need a copy, because we're gonna put the figures in.
Okay, the way that, you know the way this works, I send it to my mayor, and he sends it to you.
Okay.
So they are done, yes. So do I,
Thank you.
when are we having a borough budget meeting, do you know?
Tonight, I need your figures to put in the budget.
Okay, I'll make sure he gets it to you very soon. Thank you.
That concludes our reports portion. Moving on to finance, 8A, it's a motion to pay the bills. Before that, we'll hear the bill list from Mr. Bates, please.
General fund, $106,129.73. Street lighting fund, $5,632.52. Library fund, $3,507.05. Recreation fund, $2,727.85. Sinking fund, $3,084.25. Street fund, $1,092.18. State highway fund, $3,587.61. Morrisville Borough E-Heist, $618.24. For a grand total of $127,068.43.
Excuse me, that last figure, the 618, was actually for Jones.
Oh, for Jones, okay.
Just clarification. You've heard the bill list. Can I have a motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Second.
Yes.
Questions or comments on the bill list? Now roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
And Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next is 8B, it's a motion for an ordinance to elect to amend Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System, Morrisville Uniform Pension Plan, per Pennsylvania state requirement. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on this motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
And Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next is 8C, a motion to approve the annual municipal contribution of $7,500 to support the Landmark Towns program for 2016, per the letter from Lisa Garofalo, President, Executive Director of Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Corridor, dated October 28, 2015. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second the motion.
Questions or comments on the motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you.
Mind if I scoot?
Yep. 8D, a motion to approve the land development plan on My Lane for Britton Realty. This plan has been approved by the Planning Commission, Morrisville Planning Commission and Morrisville Zoning. Also, I believe the Bucks County Planning as well. Any questions or comments on this motion? May I have a roll call, please?
Somebody make a second.
Oh, I didn't get the first.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Next is 8E. It's a motion for the Borough Solicitor to prepare and the Borough Manager to advertise an ordinance amending Chapter 65-5 of the Morrisville Borough Code to remove the residency requirement for the Borough Manager's position.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments on the motion?
First of all, it says to prepare, and we did prepare an ordinance before that is prepared. Remember that? Done several months ago for the, it's not dated, it had to be at least 2-3 months ago, probably I think September. And then it was not brought on the table to vote because we were talking about whether it was going to get changed. So we do have it already drafted instead of paying to do it again. And I brought up my issue that I had with this was that some of the other language should be changed. I think it should be changed, definitely the residency clause has to come out. And some of the other stuff should be just, if you're going to do a policy to correct some of this stuff, then the ordinance itself should have some of those things, just general language put in. The bond amount, we said can just be an amount set forth by the council, so that $25,000 would have to be removed, and this ordinance only states just for the residency right now. The other one, as far as the, we've gone back and forth for a year now about the hiring practices on the manager, and if it's going to be done by policy, then at least in the ordinance, before it's advertised, we have to pay to do it again, is to just put in there that the council is going to adopt a policy for the hiring practices, so it at least says it in the ordinance instead of what it does, because you're going to be paying to bring it back off and correct it, even if you do a policy later. So I would just wish that some of these things would be changed as that ordinance goes out, instead of wasting the taxpayer dollars again to re-advertise.
I don't see why the ordinance has to mention a policy, we could just have a policy, it doesn't have to be in the ordinance. That's the whole point of having a policy.
Because then, well, you're not putting in there what it's going to be, you're just stating that you're doing a policy.
But we don't have to do that, we could just make a policy. We don't have to change anything else in the ordinance.
But the ordinance says certain language in there. We went back and forth about this.
All right. The motion on the floor is a motion for the Borough Solicitor to prepare and manager to advertise an ordinance amending Chapter 65-5 of the Morrisville Borough Code to remove the residency requirement from the Borough Manager's position. That's what we have on the floor.
Okay, pass this to Allison and ask her to pay to at least draw that back up again.
I'm writing prepare. Prepare could mean, we always leave prepare in there just
Okay,
part of the process.
well, that's what I'm asking, then this is, because this did come from Mr. Kilkenny's office, as I'm saying, is that what it's going to be?
This is in our files. I promise you I will not reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, I just want to make sure that that's the one then.
Now, roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Yes. Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
No,
Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 6-1. Next, we have 8F, a motion to award the contract for collection of refuge and recyclables to Republic Services for the amounts as outlined in the bid proposal dated October 30th, 2015, contingent upon Republic Services providing a performance bond in the amount of 100% of the total contract price. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Was that second, Victor?
Yes.
Questions or comments, but our solicitors now will also comment.
Sure. I also received a letter from Mr. DeGenero on Friday. I took a look at the bid again, did a little bit of brief research myself on the procurement statute, the Borough Code, some case law. I'm very confident that what Republic has submitted, which I have in front of me, is a valid bid. If it's unfortunately, as the gentleman stated, it has come to have challenges with these trash bids, but if this will absolutely hold up in court. It has a notary, it has a signature. I also looked at what our bid asked for, and it did comply with all the specs. So I would recommend that council award the contract to Republic as the lowest bidder.
Questions or comments from council?
So it is your opinion, your legal opinion, that this is a
valid bid?
It is.
Thank you.
No questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
Yes.
Ms. Smith.
Yes.
And Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 7-0. Next, we have a motion for the borough to submit a $15,000 invoice to Morrisville Baseball for the 2016 baseball season park fees. This wasn't on the agenda Friday. It was brought up by Mr. Bates just today, and so that's why you didn't see it Friday.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Actually, council hadn't discussed this in the past. I wanted to put something on there and have them talk about it tonight and then vote on something. We have to tell baseball something. Last year, you guys didn't tell baseball anything, and soon enough, and they have to put out their registration prices and stuff like that for the little leaguers and T-ball players and all their participants. So I think it's sort of mandatory that we settle something now and settle some kind of price that you want to charge baseball.
We charged them $10,000 last year, correct?
That's correct. The price that we talked about last year, what it cost us $32,000. That's what it cost us to mow the grass, take care of the fields, to take care of the bathrooms. We pay overtime for the guys to come in and clean the bathrooms on the weekends. I'm not saying that we should charge them that much money. It was a new thing for them. They didn't even pay the $10,000 actually until the end of, I think, sometime in September, right, Bobby? But now they're forewarned. But I think we have to really tell them some kind of price up front. So I think council should talk about it right now.
I would have appreciated having this for the agenda meeting to talk about, instead of just put it up here and say, here, let's have a debate about this now and vote on it. How did you come up with 15,000? How did you figure that?
Because it was 10,000 last year.
Okay, and how'd you get the extra 5? What?
I thought we discussed before that it would be,
Yeah.
incremental.
Well,
Incremental.
Well, they offered 10,000 and wanted to go $1,000 a year and do some kind of contract with us, and we weren't going to do that. We were supposed to get together and discuss that, and including, in my opinion, I think we should be doing a memorandum of understanding, because besides the money end of it, you also have to know what areas that they're using, so, and that's nothing against baseball, but they change coaches all the time. So as new people come in, they're not aware of what our regulations are, I think. And so you can't put the full blame on them, but with a memorandum of understanding, they would know, whoever the coaches change up to in the beginning of the season, what's expected on our end and what's expected on theirs, to make sure that we know that. And when I attended the meeting with their board, which Mr. Kerner also went to, I did mention that to them, that it's a, they don't seem to know some of the things they shouldn't be doing according to what, their idea was just take out your ordinance, it's outdated. It's not, it's in there for a reason. We have gone back and forth about the roster, they said they weren't giving a roster. So when I'm asking about the 15,000, they were supposed to be giving us the schedule, whether they were going to do fall ball made a difference on the amount of money, whether they were going to do any tournaments. There was going to be a field charge. Now, did any of that change? Anybody know before you vote this tonight?
Last year, we didn't charge them for fall ball. We didn't charge them for the summer. Last year, I asked this council, Fred, and I think you, to at least talk to them for the year, and I don't know if anything ever happened.
Well, Fred was the one that took that on, and I asked him if he spoke with him, and he said no.
Yeah, so, I mean, but we have to do something. We have to sort of warn them or sort of charge them something.
I agree, but there has to be a basis for how you come up with the 15, is what I'm saying. Because what do you do next year? You're not giving them Like next year, they could say, well, what were you gonna charge us, 16 next year? There's no basis as to how you come up with that.
If you wanna do this, then just charge them what you charged them last year, and then you guys are gonna have to get together and start working with them this year. Should've worked with them last year.
What did you say your cost for, Tom? Tom?
32.
32.
It actually costs the borough $32,000 a year to cut the grass, man the bathrooms, and do all the maintenance that we do. To buy the toilet paper, to do everything. It costs $32,000. I'm not saying, but we've always paid for that.
But actually, you'd have to do some of that anyhow.
Correct.
Absolutely.
So that's why,
We cut the ball fields for them and everything.
That's
why you went down to 15,000, which I think is fairly reasonable.
I think it is.
And we do pay part of the electrics on the bill list every month too, on the clubhouse, because I've been watching that. So yeah, there's a fee every month on there that we pay for part of the electric down there. And according to the season, it goes up and down. So if you add that and deduct that also out of that, we're also paying for that. And we know that they can't possibly meet the requirement of having mostly the Morrisville kids here. So I would say, my estimate, we're probably talking like at least 85%, maybe a little bit more, are not from Morrisville.
Do you have anything to base that off of?
Well, they weren't showing any roster number.
So you just came up with that?
That's what the coach told me
And how did you
at the meeting. Well,
What coach?
the coaches, when I went to the meeting
So
last
all of the coaches came up with that, not just one?
they were just saying that was their estimate. That's what they told the borough last year. Do you know, Corinne?
I didn't throw out a number.
15,000 is very reasonable, let me tell you. I think it is. I mean, it's fair for them, I think it's fair for us. I don't think you should raise it any higher or anything. You don't want to listen, we went through this whole discussion last year. You don't want to get rid of your Morrisville Little League.
No.
I mean, the kids playing baseball.
Where do you get that was ever said anyway?
What's that?
Where would you ever get that was ever said? It was never said about them not
You
being
can
there.
price them out of here if you
Well,
want to keep.
they were
keep it higher
saying
and
that
higher.
they might have been, but listen, they're, let me tell you, we didn't do our due diligence by negotiating with them all year, but let me tell you, they aren't doing their due diligence by coming to us either and sending us a letter, what do you want to do this year? So, they're not,
going to ask you how much you want to
well,
charge.
they are, when we charged them last year, they should be doing their
When
due
we
diligence.
spoke last year, they knew that there was going to be an incremental raise this year. It wasn't said how much. I didn't think that, I don't know where the
They turned down that $1,000 a year raise.
Exactly.
This motion is only calling for us to send them an invoice.
That's right.
That's all it says, send them an invoice.
And that gives them a fair warning.
We have a borough employee that is in constant contact with them, and that's Bob Seward. So just to think that they don't know what they're supposed to do or what they're not supposed to do. And we have a schedule,
No, wait.
we have a schedule of all their games as well.
What I'm saying when it comes to that, as we've been talking for a while now about actually doing improvements for the borough residents also down there and using some of that for the borough residents, some of the areas of the baseball that were multi-fields are not multi-fields. They're developed diamonds now along the Delmar. And that was supposed to be a trade-off between the fields that were there in front for the T-ball and what was ended up over on the Delmar side. So now they're still doing T-ball in front of the stage, and they're now developing 2 diamonds on the other side. I know what a diamond looks like. So the sand and the dirt that we gave them permission to put bins in back of the bin, back of the batting building, never happened. And now that pile of that dirt and that sand is on the side of the building, and they're now developing diamonds across from there, along with seating and fencing. And I don't know how anybody else looks at it, but it looks like a developed field to me. So how do you? Everybody has to have written permission, correct? And I don't remember ever saying that that was allowed to happen. So what I'm saying is, in order for us to actually get some of that land for us to develop for our residents also, there has to be a boundary on it. It just can't be that a borough worker says, okay, that's what you're gonna do. Do you know that? I mean, how are you gonna possibly put in a track that we've been talking about with the MEC, or is that off the table? There's nothing been said.
Right, I don't think a path is off the table in thought, but we have no money for that.
I know what I'm saying is,
But I don't, the area you're referring to, I don't know if that's going to interfere with it.
What's gonna happen is, they're now using that and they're developing diamonds, so a year or two down the road, they're gonna say, oh, it's always been that way, and that's our field, and it's not. It's never been approved for that to be that
It
way.
can be turned around, we can have those,
They
in
don't
fact,
believe,
here comes Bob. If you want those backdrops taken out,
they don't believe that any of those things are their fields, let me tell you. They've come and asked me and Bob if they could redevelop some of the multi-fields that we told them.
Bob, did
no.
they ever put the gates in we gave them permission for?
The field that they're using for T-ball was approved by council. They came here and we talked about it. They were told that they cannot put anything there permanently.
On the
I
double?
told them personally that anything they put there permanently, and this council wants to use that field for, if it does not come out by them, it will come out by our backhoe.
Okay, so you're talking about the Delmore part.
The Delmore part. They are well aware that that field is used for multi-purpose. I just spoke with Tony last week about that.
Mhm.
There were some improvements they wanted to do to the field, and I told them, no, they could not, that is a multi-purpose field, it's not exclusively baseball. The island is not exclusively Morrisville baseball, they are aware of that.
Mhm.
We have had some problems, and I will admit, with them being a little overzealous with doing things.
Mhm.
Anytime they do anything, it's brought to my attention, I go down, I ask them very nicely, if you don't remove it, the borough will. It is borough property, we run the fields, if they don't like it, I tell them very nicely with this smile that I always have, I'm very sorry, but these are our fields.
Okay,
They're for the residents of the borough of Morrisville.
well, that's why I'm saying, in order for that to define that, it would be a good idea to have that memorandum of understanding. I know, I could ask the attorney about it, but I think it would be good to do that.
We can have that, you know, I mean.
And that way it kind of like takes it off you too, they know.
Well, I don't mind that, you know, I don't mind that because I've been trying to run the fields for the borough and not strictly for baseball, and they are well aware of that. We have had some hiccups going down the road, but that's understandably because if you've ever been involved in baseball, once you get going, it doesn't stop until somebody puts your brakes on.
Right, that's why I'm saying
I
put
mean,
the
I coached
brakes on.
softball for 9 years, and it's, a lot of guys take it as major league. It is not major league baseball,
Right,
but some people really take it that way.
yeah.
They are, the fields, the park is for the borough or the residents, and for the usage of all of our residents,
Mhm. Well, I said
and
that's,
non-residents.
and non-residents.
well,
We have, the motion on the floor is to send an invoice, submit an invoice of $15,000.
Right.
So, if someone wishing to change that figure, reduce it, increase it, during this discussion, if not, I'm going to call for the vote.
We have a
Not yet.
second.
No, not yet.
Did we have a motion?
Not yet.
I'll make that motion.
All right.
Send them an
Is there a
invoice
second?
of $15,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cicero.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Ms. Chronicle.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Sanford.
No.
No. Ms. Smith.
no,
And Ms. Sherlock.
Yes. Motion carries 5-2. Under unfinished business, let me make this announcement. There is no scheduled zoning meeting for December. Unfinished business, one of the unfinished business subject matter is the meeting room. Let me get that. Using the borough chambers here as a meeting room. The resolution 447 was quoted this evening, as well as 447 as revised, which was actually 620. And in number 4, it says persons or groups of persons who wish to use, this is the revised version, who wish to use the community room for other than rental purposes shall make written applications to the borough manager, who shall permit or deny such use. Appeals from the manager's decision shall be taken to the borough council. So, Mr. Bates made the decision to let them vote, let them meet there, and it wasn't exclusive to the Democratic Club, it would have been to the Republican Club as well. And so if this council chooses that this will not be used for anybody, for anything, we can, then we need to move forward and do that, or we change the resolution to allow them. So, what's your pleasure?
What are you saying, we change the resolution so that Mr. Bates doesn't have permission or any other manager to do that, is what you're saying?
No, I'm saying to change it to allow political parties.
No,
We don't wanna do that, that's fine.
It's fine, it's just
no, it shouldn't be here, because,
No
no, wait,
borough building, that means the library or anywhere.
no. What,
Can't be the library because we don't have any need,
It's a borough building,
yes.
so you can't meet there either.
the difference here, if you're gonna have the other residents come here, if you're gonna have the Democrat Republicans, and that means dog park can meet here, the Boy Scouts can meet here, and seniors could use a bingo room, this is big enough, they could be here, they're losing their place.
The discretion.
Somebody would have to have a key to let them in, because that's as a discriminatory.
So we can't do that, so I say then no one meets here. If that's what you want, then no one
That's
meets
right,
here.
no one meets there.
You're not gonna pay overtime for someone to open up the building and have the lights on and so forth and so on.
Mhm.
It's easy enough.
So nothing changes, the resolution remains the same, and nobody meets here.
And you realize it also cuts off your revenue for your library you've had all these years, right?
I'm sorry?
It cuts off